Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network. It's time for the Ghost. It's time for the Ghostfire Media Network podcast show, featuring the stars of iRacing's Ivrl and the AOLL. Now, here's your host, the Ghostfire Media Network crew. Ghostfire Media Podcast. I'm Randy Pepper alongside Adam Wood and Carl Henderson tonight. Kind of a skeleton crew, but we're going to have some fun. It's good to be back after being away for 2-3 weeks. I don't even know how long I've been gone, but been too long.
It's been enough.
It's been enough. Yeah. Everybody's like, God, he's back. So Adam, how's your week going?
It's good. First full week back here, getting everything under control, starting the work life back up, and running through and getting everything back up and running here in the whole iRacing world and the Ghostfire Media world. So it's been good on that aspect, but on the other aspect, away from the family for the first week. So it's always the toughest at that point. So just gotta get in a routine, and hopefully these months click off.
Yeah, and hopefully they do. Carl, your mic all right? Your mic all right now? Let's see.
Well, we're gonna see. How do I sound now?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh,
now you're fine.
fantastic. Things are good here, man. I think this is like my first really full week back broadcasting, and trying to think, I broadcasted Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday, so it's been fun this week. Got to see a lot of racing.
Yeah, you were definitely full time this week. You saw a lot of good stuff. Actually, you probably saw the best races of the week.
Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the IPRL race this week. Usually, that's my Saturday thing. But yeah, lots of really great racing this week. I have to say, a pretty big improvement over the previous week.
Yeah, the previous week was just too many short track races. So we finally kind of got away from it. I mean, I consider Gateway on Wednesday night as short track, but at the same time, had like kind of intermediate feel to it with the speeds and the bank corners.
Similar to the Nashville Speedway or Loudon, kind of.
Yeah, I haven't raced those two yet, so we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to figure that one out. I've now broadcast or Nashville Super Speedway, but still yet to race it.
It feels like a small track, but it still seems fast. It's kind of like exactly what you said about Gateway. It's kind of the same kind of feel.
And
I'm
you're
not-
talking about the Super Speedway, not the fairground.
Yeah, the Super
Yeah.
Speedway.
Honestly, I mean, we ran the Super Speedway at the TNT race last night, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. But I hated it. I despised it. I finished third. It was still one of my least favorite tracks I've ever.
I gotcha.
Mhm.
Oh man, so what about you, Randy? You've asked everybody else. I'll ask you. How's your week going so far?
Pretty uneventful. Guitar Addict's been happening. Bought some cool guitars this week and sold a couple. Yeah, taught some people some lessons. I got a gig tomorrow night at the Kona Tiki Bar here in Ormond Beach. I won't be at the Daytona National Speedway this week since really I don't have any reason to go there because I don't have a hot pass, so who cares?
So you say meeting Rick is uneventful because you met him this week.
Yeah, that's right. I did have Rick. I forgot about Rick. Believe it or not, guys, my weeks kind of run all together. It seems like I just left North Carolina from the Carolina
Me
Guitar
too.
Show. Yeah, I know you too. You left the same time I did, and it just seems like I just did that, even though I've been back in the shop for 2 weeks. But I'm still not back in the swing of things. So, my daughter moved back in. By the way, my daughter works at Disney, and she has moved back into the house, and now she's commuting back and forth from the house to Disney, which is about an hour and 30 minutes from here.
So is it a cost savings thing, or is it?
Yeah.
So how much?
Yeah.
I mean, she must have a really good gas car because I mean that commuting. I mean, it takes a toll on you both financially, physically, and beating on the car for another reason. An hour and a half one way. I know I did like a 45 minutes to an hour depending on traffic at DC, and I mean sometimes I like the commute and sometimes I hated it.
Yeah, she has a Mazda MX-5, which is a pretty economical car.
Isn't that the baby SUV?
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
Miata. Oh, it's the MX-5. I thought MX-5 was the Miata. What's the Miata?
No, MX-5 is a little SUV, 4-door. I believe that's what it is. So she has that, and she puts the Great Dane in the back, and they go to work and come back, after they're done. So,
Are you thinking of the CX-5?
Or yeah, there's a CX-5.
Oh yeah,
yeah. MX-5 is the Miata.
MX-5 is the Miata. That's right. You're right. I should have known that, but no, it is the CX-5 because there's CX-5, CX-9, CX-3, and I think whatever. But yeah, she commutes back and forth, and it was a cost-cutting thing because, in Disney, when they put you in these housing things, it was costing her. She was getting her paychecks were basically between $50 and $60 a week.
Ooh.
You can't live on $50 and $60 a week. There's just no way. After you buy your gas and your food and all that other stuff. So she moved back home. She got her first paycheck. She goes, "Wow, I got over $300. Cool." It's like, so her gas would cost her about $300 a month. So that'll, she'll make an extra $900 a month, opposed to making, roughly, $120 a month. So, or a little more than that. But so, yeah, it was a cost-cutting move, to say the least. So we've got, tonight we have, we're going to talk some fuel. We're going to talk some IVRL. We're going to talk the AOLL, all the 3 divisions in that, and a whole lot more, I'm sure. So if you're just watching tonight, is anybody watching the feed to see who's watching tonight? What do we got out there?
So we got
Go ahead.
Justin, Dave Wright, and Ed Springer commenting right now. We got Ed says Martinsville and Darlington had a baby. It's called Gateway. And then Dave Wright said his daughter also has a CX-5 and he hates he says DC commute ick. So yeah,
Hey, by the way, we do have, speaking of big things happening, we want to congratulate Larry Patrick on having a brand new baby boy this week. Hey, how about that?
yes, Lincoln Patrick. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So that was big news. So that should be the big thing. So congratulations, Larry, on your new baby boy. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that for a while and enjoy the stinky diapers.
yeah, he just got out of the diaper phase, and now he's back into it. I mean, you know, I don't know. I only have one child, and she is now 15. So I never had to do that little cycle of violence all over again and again. So I commend all these parents who are able to do that. Like I got some friends that got 3 to 4 kids, and I'm just like, man. I don't know how I would feel to get out of the diaper phase and then get right back into the diaper phase over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have the one too, and that's it. And it's been 19 years since I've had to do that, and I don't miss those days at all. I can tell you this: the best thing about when you have a kid is a diaper genie.
Yeah, we had something similar to that.
I have a litter genie for my cats because it's nice just having it just dispense it away, and I don't have to think about it except for like once a month or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, diaper genie's not that easy.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. Oh man.
But you're still not having to run out to like the outdoor trash can like a few times a day.
I had a neighbor once who actually he had kids, and he would didn't have a diaper genie, so he'd just take a bag out, like a brown papered bag filled with all diapers, and wouldn't shut it, and you'd see the diapers hanging over the top of the bag, and he'd leave them out there for like weeks. So it would reek. It was like, ah, dude, come on, what the hell are you doing?
That's not
Yeah, great
good.
neighbor. I've had some really great neighbors. The guy next door that I had just moved out, he had a hearse that was in pieces in the front. So it was like missing half the front quarter panel. So that's what I woke up every day, is looking at this hearse from like 1968, missing quarter panels. The roof was having holes in it. So needless to say, nobody could sell their house in the neighborhood.
Just Florida things.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Hey, if we can kick it to iRacing real quick, I before we have our guests show up, I wanted to share something that I came up with this week. And I shared it with the Fuel Discord. I haven't really talked about it otherwise. But I have a new painting program. I am no longer using Photoshop at all. I've switched to a program called Affinity Designer. It's available on Windows, Mac, and also iPad. And it can open PSDs. It's really cool with that. So you can directly work with PSDs, but it is way better at like working with shapes and stuff than Photoshop. So like you just want to draw like a square or something, like you can. It's really easy to do that. But what I really love about it is it has this thing called continuous export mode. So I can have like I'm working on a paint scheme on my iPad here, and I can have it open here, and I'm editing it, and without having to hit save or export or anything like that, as I'm editing, it's updating on the car model in iRacing. It
That's
is
awesome.
super nice. I'm going to once I kind of have it, feel like I have it mastered, I'm going to release kind of some free videos on how to do it because I really think this is the way forward. I was seriously just sitting on my couch earlier today, just starting on this scheme right here, and had my Apple Pencil, and like I'm just drawing, and man, it is. I feel like I can pump out schemes now. Like I'm really stoked about it.
That's
And
something
like I want
probably
everyone to use it.
Rick Kohler probably wants to do. I mean, he's really big at painting, and he carries his laptop everywhere. Like this man's out there just painting. He's like, hey man, I was at the airport. I just popped out my laptop and hopped and started painting a scheme. But the thing that he doesn't really have time to do though is have anything open for iRacing. So for him to be able to do something like that, I think he's probably going to really enjoy it, and I think other painters as well.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
I know I will.
What's really nice about it is, Photoshop is something like $10 a month or something, and this right here is for Windows is a one-time fee of $30.
Oh, cool.
And I actually bought the app on Mac probably 5, 6 years ago, and I kind of forgot about it. I've never really used it, and because I saw it on sale for $20, I was like, sure, why not? I'll buy it. I haven't had a problem. And it 6 years ago, $20. I'm still receiving free updates for it. It's really cool. Highly recommend it. But like I said, there's a little bit of work getting the kind of setup and integration working. I'll release a tutorial for all that. It's really nice.
Yeah, definitely do a video on that. I'd love to see how to do that because I've been using the Trading Paints painting program.
Yeah.
And that's all I use. And I mean, you see how my paints are. They're okay.
Yeah, I mean, and once you finish your paint, you still have to upload it to Trading Paint. But
Okay.
you can do all sorts of custom stuff with it. I mean, I came up with a scheme for the Fuel Darlington race based on Robbie Gordon's singular scheme. And I mean, I seriously threw it together in probably 2 hours max. I mean, it was way easier than anything I did in Photoshop. So yeah, to say that I'm excited about this is like an understatement. I would be happy if I could just sit here the entire time and just do schemes and just ignore you guys.
Oh yeah, man. I think I'm gonna probably look into that tomorrow. Look up some YouTube videos to see how well it is. I wish on my desktop here I'm able to use a pen or something like that to work a little bit better, and I can't justify an iPad purchase for it. So
Well, so I got this iPad bought used like a while back, and I mean it's like seriously the first generation iPad Pro. It's like, I mean, you can see it has a few bezels on it and all that, and I hardly used it. But then I started doing paint schemes on this. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to buy a new iPad. Like,
oh
it's just
wow.
another one of those racing expenses, and yeah.
So
I just found an actual iPad Air at a garage sale for $80. So I thought that was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
gotcha.
So,
Well, before we get going, I really love this video. I really think it's hilarious. I want to share it because it reminds me of everybody we race with in iRacing at some point or another. I think all iRacing fans will get a kick of it. I know quite a few of my friends. I've shared this a lot to them, but I have it up. So I'm gonna go live here. So let's see. Hopefully it works.
What is your problem, man? You know how to fucking drive? No. What? No, I don't know how to fucking drive. I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared. What are you talking about, you psycho? You gotta drive!
So that right there to me is a lot of people, especially this week coming up. It's Daytona week. Everybody is out there and trying to get their plate racing on, and nobody's going to know how to drive this week. I know it. I really want to get out there and do a whole bunch of plate racing on official races this week, but that fearful of people not knowing how to drive. So that video just always makes me chuckle every single time. I don't think I've never chuckled when I watched it.
it's funny. I'm gonna actually join in on Sunday night, so I can be out there so I can wreck a few of you guys. I'll probably cause the first caution, So
Hey, Sunday night you should take out Blake. Since
He's got a
since
sharp looking paint scheme. You should take him out.
actually, I was gonna ask Blake if he would push me to the lead.
I'm just saying he just rejoined after having some issues, and take him out, and make him quit again. Love you,
man.
Blake.
That's not funny, man. I'm glad that Blake decided to come back. I mean,
Yeah, me too. I
and
think it's something, we talked a lot about this in the closed circuit racing fuel or the Discord channel, and we like Josh Hanner's going to be in the chase, and there's a lot of discussion about how without people like Blake Gordon, without Justin Anderson, like if if those guys aren't there, like, what?
It's the
It kind of
dynamic.
feels like if Hanner goes and wins the championship, did he really win the championship? Like, and he I know Hanner at least wants to go out there and beat those guys.
Yeah.
Like it, and he may lose to them, but he wants the opportunity to try to beat them. And I know the feeling. Like it's just like if in TNT,
Like when
if Brandon
Sean
Bernhardt or Blake Zeedy or Josh Laston was there, I would feel cheap.
Yeah.
Well, you could always say, Hannah won and Blake wasn't there. You say, I still beat Gordon. John Gordon doesn't really count, but
Oh man. So
Your
sorry,
words,
John.
not
I just
mine.
had to do that. You're not your son.
all right. So this week we went into IVRL and we ran Daytona. It became the typical Daytona. I think we had 2 cautions outside of, or no, we had 2 wrecks, maybe
2 wrecks.
3 with mine. You would say.
And no major ones. And
Yeah.
I mean, how many cautions did we have
We had
that
0.
should have actually had caution? I mean, how many wrecks did we have that we should have had caution?
We had 2 iRacing official, or not really iRacing, but we had 2 stages. So stage 1, stage 2, and then one of the guys apparently his throttle decided to stop working. And he pulled a nick, and on a restart, it stacked up the whole entire field. So admin threw an admin caution right there because I think about 8 cars were involved, so they got to go in and get repaired. But then there was 3 wrecks right after that. Harvey kind of got dumped by Nick Weatherby. From my take, I guess that's what happened. They were trying to push each other. Harvey was heavily damaged and Nick wasn't, and he was just trying to help him along. They were both lapped down. He kind of got punted. They hit the apron and just slid up and hit the wall or something like that. No caution whatsoever. I think Harvey was like in the track too, and nothing happened. Something happened with Derek Schilling and Miz or something. I think that's how you say his name, Miz.
Yeah, the Miz.
Yeah.
That looked like the Miz kind of came down and kind of hit Schilling, and I know there were some words between the two of them.
Quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few words, and kind of a lot of blame was being thrown at Derek, and Derek was like, "Okay, whatever," Because I think one of the words they said, "Yeah, typical driving by an '89 car," which Derek said to them, and then he came back with typical driving by the '87 car or something like that. I'm like,
oh, there's a lot of words. There's a lot of words said that we will not go over all.
yeah, we won't go over that, but I know they were talking that back and forth. And I guess Derek was kind of referencing the whole '89 car with who the previous driver did in the '89, and he was kind of tying it all back to that. But Derek had a good run, by the way. Derek actually won, I think, stage 2, which was pretty cool.
I won.
Was that right?
No, I won it.
Oh, you won that one, but Derek actually led in that one too.
Yeah. So, we worked together. Me, Derek, Harvey, Nick, and Charles. We all worked together. I mean, we did fantastic. We were, we formed up. We were the 5 guys, just like my sponsor, 5 Guys. And
oh yeah, you made us hungry with that car.
And
we hated you.
Man, we put on the clinic. I think we did really great for teamwork. It's just where we were at, we were up front and trying to get everybody to pit at the same time. We did horrible strategy due to that. Causey and Team Tito as a whole, they played the strategy right. They played in the back, stayed out of the way, drafted well together, and were able to save the most fuel at the end. But I have to commend my like 5-team or 5-person alliance that we had, and we drafted very well. We got on pit road. I think that whenever that incident with the Miz dropping it affected Harvey and Nick. Nick couldn't stay with us in the draft. He was able to push initially, and then he kind of fell off on it due to some damage. And then Harvey was just down on horsepower overall. He couldn't stick with us, period, in the 3rd stage. So it came down to a 3-car show, and some other people joined in. But we didn't get the right fuel strategy, which sucks. But we were coming to the line with 2, I think right at 2 to go, and it was me, Charles, Nick came back in and he helped us when we had to pit there at the end. He came in, and I think Ryan Cliver was behind us, or I think somebody else. I think we had
Yeah,
4.
Cliver was in there as well. Yeah.
And we were trying to catch up to Cody and a few other people trying to catch up to third. And Charles just got into my back bumper a little bit too much in turn 3 to 4 and spun me. I was upset, but I was more upset at iRacing because iRacing didn't throw a caution all night long that needed to be, because I was the third race or third wreck in a row that they didn't throw. I wasn't mad at Charles. I mean, we were trying to push as hard as we could to make up some ground.
Yeah, I don't understand. iRacing did not throw cautions for 3 of those wrecks that they should have, and they didn't. We were really baffled in the booth watching that race going, no caution? I don't understand this.
We didn't have an iRacing caution period that whole entire night, so that's kind of what was kind of upsetting. And those 3 wrecks, maybe the first one not so much. I don't know. Single car, but I mean the Derek and Miz. I mean that was 2 cars battling that hit the wall heavily. I spun right in front of a whole entire pack, and luckily nobody hit me, but I spun in front of everybody. I mean, I smacked the outside wall, dropped down to the bottom, went through the grass, and came back out in front of the leaders almost. And nothing. I was like, all right, this is a bunch of crap.
Yeah, we kind of felt that way too. It's kind of like really strange. It's like these guys got robbed. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, I think, not to kick it over to TNT or anything, but first of all, I mean, I think last night there was a missed caution as well. So I'm starting to wonder if iRacing changed something with how they throw the automatic cautions. But you were talking about Derek earlier. Were you talking about Derek Schilling?
Yeah, Derek Schilling. Yeah.
I thought so. I will tell you, the only experience I have racing him is in TNT, but I feel like in the past few weeks, all of a sudden, he has come alive in the TNT series. And I know I'm not trying to shift over to TNT, but I don't know. I don't know if he's doing something different. I mean, are you seeing those kind of changes reflected in IVRL as well?
I mean, the more you race, the more you're getting better. I mean, he's racing in multiple different disciplines now. I mean, he's in the Cup. He's in the trucks. I think he's in trucks 2 nights a week now. I think he races the Monday night IVRL truck series. He's in Tuesday night Cup series. He's doing, I think he races Wednesday night truck series, Thursday night TNT series, and that's, and then Sunday night Cup series, I believe he comes out and runs with us. So, I mean, the man's running everything he can. I mean, the more laps you get onto the sim, the better, and the better off you're going to be. I mean, he is improving. I've been racing with him for over a year now, when the other one. So, I've liked racing with him. I don't have, anything. That's why I invited him whenever I was on First Response Racing. I was like, hey, you're coming in. You need somebody to home. Hell yeah, man, come on in. And so. Yeah,
now he's my teammate.
Yeah.
So me, Rick, and Derek, I guess. 3 left.
You got Ross.
So, I don't know if Ross is still there or not. I don't know if Ross moved on, but I don't know. I just know it's the 3 of us. And really it's just the 2 of us because we don't see Rick hardly at all. So it's just mainly me and Derek.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. That was the regular season finale, so we move into playoffs next week. Basically, everybody's racing is in the playoffs, except for Nick Goebel. I think he's the only one that did not make the playoffs because he's kind of
Jaden Gimbel didn't make it either. Jaden was on the cusp of making it. If he had stayed in the race, him and Michael Payne were fighting for that last position.
They just came out with who's in, and Gimbel's in there because Tom Schuett was out.
Oh, okay.
So Tom
we
Schuett,
thought he was not going to make it.
Yeah, Tom Schuett had exited the series. That's all I'm going to say about that one. I know the backstory about it, but I'm not going to put him on blast. I'm just going to leave it at that. He exited the series, and when he did, that made his spot available, which means Gimbel got to move up, and Michael Payne and Gimbel were not racing for a position. They were both already in that race.
Okay.
Last Tuesday.
We had we were watching the points, and
yeah,
Nick actually thought it was closer than what it was, but I guess it wasn't. So
Yeah, he was automatically kind of in. There was kind of nobody else. I think basically everybody you see on Tuesday night that's going to be out there, except for the 24 of Nick Goebel, will be in the chase. So as we start winding down for the first 3 races, we'll be at Darlington next week.
So for someone that's unfamiliar, I think either of you guys might be able to explain this. Can you explain the playoff format for IVRL?
So we're top 16. We'll race for 3 races, and then we'll drop it down to 12, 8, and 4. I'll go over the races here. So round of 16, we have Darlington. Then we go to Richmond on September 7th. Bristol on September 14th. That'll be your cutoff race. Then we'll go to round of 12, which will be Las Vegas, Talladega, and the Roval. Sorry, I had to click in to see what that one was. And then we have the round of 8's only 2 races. So, or actually, sorry, 3. It's in pink, so thought it was a bye week. So Texas, Kansas, and Martinsville, and sadly, the championship final 4 is at Phoenix instead of Homestead. So I try to make everybody move to Homestead. I love that track. I hate Phoenix.
I actually love Phoenix and Homestead.
Awesome tracks. I don't like the. I can do turn 3 on the way it's set up in iRacing. I don't like turn 1 going into it. I just can't find the rhythm going into it, going from basically 2 flat corners into that corner. It just throws my rhythm off.
Yeah. So I know that you guys in IVRL have been doing stages. The stage points carry over into the playoff, correct?
Stage wins.
Stage wins. That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay.
Not points, but wins.
Yes, correct. Okay. Your stage wins, and then if you won during the season. So like right now, in the points carrying over, let's see, playoff standings. Right now, Joseph Cossey has
dominating.
Dominating. 2,089 points. Greg Holt's got 2040. Nicholas Weatherby's at 2012. Patrick Gaspar's at 2012 as well. Converse is at 2010. Carino Jr.'s at 29. Me, Charles, and Harvey are at 2006. Will Cannon and Cody McKinney at 2005. And Joey McKinney's at 2002. And basically everybody else, the last 4 is basically at 2000 starting out.
I got you. So it's pretty similar to the NASCAR.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Exactly. Yeah, it's almost
awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Other than the actual points, you only get the points for the stage win, opposed to NASCAR where you have the the points on down for the top 10.
So, but going through it, unlike what we have in any other league that we broadcast for, nobody else does stages. Only IVRL does the stages. So there's more at play in that league for it. So you're able to get stage points going for that 3 race cutoff, and that's kind of where I've kind of lacked is getting the stage points throughout the races. So that's where I'm gonna have to kind of fight for the points wise whenever it comes to these next 3 rounds.
Yeah, we really thought you were going to probably be a lot stronger, and you probably would have been in that race if the 2 guys that we talked about, Greg Holt and Causey. I mean, they had their the Miz was with them too, but Greg Holt ended up winning the race with Causey second, and they were so far ahead of everybody because that pit strategy. Everybody else pitted around lap 20, where they kind of stretched things out to lap 24, 25, something like that.
Well, they were able to do that because they were running like 10th, 12th, 13th in the pack, in a single file thing. So us up front, we were running at probably about 90% throttle as the leader and everything. I mean, plate racing, you're doing like 195, 203, something like that. Our average speed was like 185. Like we were, doing fuel savings like crazy, which, if we would have sped the thing up, then they would have had to pit. So, I mean, that's the only thing I think we could have done differently. Instead of trying to do the fuel saving aspect all the way at the front, we could have ran the tank dry sooner, and which made everybody burn more fuel. So, I mean, that's the only way I could have played that one differently in the positions we were at. If I, hindsight, I would have jumped in the back with them or had that type of mentality as well to try to run in the back of that pack to save fuel the way they did in that third stage.
Yeah, they definitely ran best strategy of everybody. But you got to think about if those cautions had flown when they should have, that would have been a whole different game.
Yeah, the first one that would have happened, I think Harvey, like when it happened, I looked down to see what the lap was, and we would have been like right there shy of a full fuel run. So it would have been some fuel strategy games on that aspect to make it work. So I mean, there's a lot of ways to swing it. We just did it wrong, and they played it perfectly. So I commend them for being able to do that. Plate racing, two guys in the race together in tandem, basically. Not one of the things that you normally see, but that's what happened.
Yeah. They were just so far ahead. There really wasn't anything anybody could do. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun watching the IVRL Butt Kicker Series starting the playoff this week. So if you're watching out here and you want to see some great racing, that is on Tuesday night.
We'll be at Darlington.
Darlington.
Lady in Black.
Yeah, absolutely. Great race track, and hopefully we'll have a good field show up for that race. We know we'll at least have our 16 guys in the chase be there. And we'll see if Joseph Causey can come out and continue his domination throughout the playoffs, or is it going to be Greg Holt? Who knows? It may be Adam Wood up here.
I doubt it. My goal is to definitely make it in every series, because it looks like I'm locked in 2 series, and I still gotta, it looks like I'm probably gonna be locked in for Sportsman, but there's still time. But my goal is to make it to the final 8, battling for that final 4. I don't think I have that top 4, and definitely I don't think I can beat Causey or Greg Holt, especially at Phoenix. But I'm going to put in the time and effort to get myself up there, and hopefully battle and contend and for that top 4 spot when it comes out down in November.
Well, Adam, you drive with those guys. If it's not you, out of those 4 guys, or who do you think the 4 guys are going to be there besides Causey and Holt?
Nicholas Weatherby, 100%. He's going to be there. That man has been putting on a clinic week in and week out, and everybody's not. The 4th one, I mean, if Christian Converse comes back, he's a shoo-in.
He's not going to come back. He's got football.
I know he's not, but if he did, he would be there. Since he's not going to be there, I think it would be Patrick Gaspar, Carino Jr., or Charles Urick. I think those are the ones that will be able to get it done. They've kind of shown all season. The unlucky people that could make it, that just can't put together a finish due to wrecks and other things, would be Cody McKinney. Cody's had speed all year long. It's just he gets caught up in everybody else's wrecks and kind of puts him out of position for it.
Yeah, I don't think, unless his luck had changed dramatically, I can't see him being there. So I think it might. God, Patrick or Carino, those 2 guys they're tough for real. And Patrick is due to win a race. He just hasn't had all the chips fall on his side this season. So
I got you. All right. Well, that's going to be it for this segment here. Let's go ahead and start talking about the wonderful fuel race this week. So, this week, fuel ran at Pocono. Me and Carl were able to be on the horn calling that one. It was a great race. We were out there looking at it, trying to figure out what strategies would be at play. When we were looking at the lap counters, we didn't think it would be a fuel strategy game unless cautions came out. We were trying to figure out, how everything would be played out. And, so for the most part, it was a very clean race. There was just a couple incidents that caused it. I mean, there was a big one right there on the last lap with Bressie getting loose coming out of turn 2 and getting smacked in the wall, and just somebody
and launching to the moon.
Yeah, somebody net coded. He got net coded to the moon because
I watched that. I was like, whoa,
because the driver that went through him didn't have any damage whatsoever, but Thomas Bressie, that dude went to the moon. He's like, dude, that's all Randy. I'm gonna try to top him.
Nobody will top that. I win that hands down. At least I win something for the year.
Oh man, yours was epic, Randy. I literally was behind. I was like 4 cars back, or probably more. You were kicking my ass that night, and I just see something purple just go straight up. I mean, there was no like sideways or anything. No, it was just straight up in the air. I was just like, damn, he's gone to the moon.
That was amazing. I still can't believe that thing because I was just straight up in the air. And the next thing I'm in the pits, like, where the hell did I go?
Oh man. So tonight we invited Hayden Pastoris here. He was the hard charger for this week. So let's go ahead and bring him up and get let the viewers know who he is. Hey Hayden, this is Adam, Ivrl, and Randy in the podcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
How's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I think you are a Chase Elliott and though a Carl Edwards fan. I love it.
Not really. I was a Carl Edwards fan. I just got this. I got the flag on sale, so.
Okay, then I'll take it back then.
Yeah.
Somebody decorates the room. What the hell, you know?
Yeah, I got a few trophies, and I like to keep everything a little bit decorated around here just to make it nice
What
and
did you
cozy.
get the trophies for? What are those for?
They're all for racing,
Like what?
like go karts. You're gonna find it funny, but I've raced lawnmowers and whatnot.
I don't think it's funny.
Lawnmowers?
My dad.
Yeah.
Lawnmowers? People
My
race
dad-
lawnmowers?
My dad's in the process
Yes.
of right now of trying to rebuild when this old Craftsman he's got, and he found my old go-kart frame, my old O2 Banshee frame, and he was trying to find the axle, but somebody broke in and stole the axle off the back. That's the only thing they stole was just the rear axle off of it, and he was going to use it for his go-kart frame. He sent me a picture of it the other day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, explain to me. Hold on, wait. What kind of effed up hillbilly crap is
Oh,
this?
First of all, I want to know, Hayden, where do you live?
I am in Ontario, Canada.
I mean, look at his
Okay,
hat.
that's
No,
shocking.
that's even worse.
I know it's worse.
Effed up Canadian hillbilly crap.
Because you started talking about lawnmower racing, I'm like, oh, this dude's from South Carolina. Like,
That's what I'm thinking.
I was like, what am I kidding? I'm more with you.
I got a picture right here from last season. I won the championship.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
awesome.
where I grew up, it was there was an oval dirt track, probably just a little over a mile from my house where they raced lawnmowers, and I could go out and I'd hear them every night, and I, went to a few races and all that. So I honestly didn't know it was a thing outside of the Southeast.
Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, it's all the way up here, and I can tell you, it might sound pretty damn stupid. Yes, I agree with that, but believe me, it's a ton of fun.
How fast does not a go-kart, but a lawnmower go? I mean, how fast do you actually go in those things?
Well, depending on what class, I've seen a lawnmower go 100 miles per hour. That's with the very, very, very high class. That's on asphalt, though. You can't go down.
Yeah, I did somebody's yawn in 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
It was also Tim the Toolman Taylor that did it. So
Oh man, He
90s joke.
He wanted more power.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Hayden, tell us about yourself. How old you are. You told us you live in Canada and stuff. Tell us what you do for a living, or you go to school, whatever you do.
So I am 17 years old. I am turning 18 September 5th. And I just graduated high school 3 months ago, and I've been working in the kitchen since I was 14. That's what I'm currently still doing, but I'm trying to find somewhere else to go. I currently just applied to a roofing job, so waiting to hear back on that. But yeah, I've been sim racing since 2014. Believe it or not, I was around 10 years old. No one really liked me because I had a squeaky voice. And yeah, I fell in love with the sport since I was around 5 years old, and here I am now.
So you're one of those guys. Everybody's raced in those pickup races, and you have that one kid in there go, "Hey guys,
Yeah, that.
how are you? Hey, get off me, you stupid."
Yeah, that was pretty much me.
Man. And they're always the most talkative people too. It's the most.
Yeah.
It's like, God, can this guy just be quiet? I just want to relax.
Yeah, I've calmed down since then, so it's a good thing.
There was one shortly after I started, there was a street stock race in Charlotte in the rookie series, and there was like one kid who had to, I mean, I'm going to say, had not had puberty more than likely. He was very squeaky voiced. And like everything he was saying, like he was like nonstop, like chastising other drivers. And it was like everything he was saying, he's like, dude, you're right. But
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time taking you serious.
Yeah, it's pretty much me. I'd say things that had common sense, and they're like, just shut up. I don't need to be hearing that from a 10-year-old.
10 and a half.
10 and a half. Yeah, I'm turning 11 next month.
Mom, make me a sandwich.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh.
Grandma, how about another grape soda?
You're not getting your pudding, Grandma. Shut up.
So, you join this is your first time with Fuel?
Oh no, I've been here since around 2018, 2019.
Okay, so cool. And how's your season going so far?
It's been going actually really good. It's been past few years have been a huge downer for me. I had vertigo, so I was like, staring at a screen for more than 10 minutes. I couldn't race. So that was a big down for me. I was like up here and I tanked down, and I kind of came into the season with my head high, doing a lot better. So yeah, it's been really good. Got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 races. That's more than I got last year in the whole entire season. So considering all those,
I mean,
going
considering
pretty
that
good.
we're having, I think this week was the lowest turnout with like 35, 36 drivers, or I think that's
yeah.
about where we had. So, I mean, finishing the top 10 is just the accomplishment in itself in that league. I'm still flabbergasted every week when I come in and there's, almost 40 drivers a week. And I commend the admin staffs to be able to, keep up with that many people engaged. And I know we're only just a few races in, but usually you have a lot of drop off after the first 2 to 3 weeks because, they normally pack the exciting races up front. And I mean, hell, even with the road course you guys did at Sebring, you still had 40 cars there, and that's where most people usually just drop off, especially on a track that nobody ever runs at, especially with the Affinity car at least.
Oh yeah. So the past few seasons, it's always been free to race, but since we added the $15 entry fee, it's the consistency for the season is going to stay high. It's not going to drop down below 20 like it has in previous seasons. So like adding that extra fee is just, you pay $15, you might as well make it every single race. And even in Sebring, I went to the race, I was like, oh, there's no way we're gonna get more than 35. Like we're lucky to even get like 35 drivers.
Yeah.
So like we went in there, I was like, guys, we got 40 cars, and then Discord, and they're like, no, we don't. I was like, yeah, we do. It's impressive.
That is really impressive.
I
So,
mean,
go ahead, Adam.
no, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I've seen it in every other series I've ever raced. That's the weeks that nobody ever shows up is the road course weeks.
So, Hayden, with Fuel, you have from what I understand, from what the drivers tell me, is you have almost like 3 classes of drivers running in that series. You have the guys who are really, really fast, the guys that are pretty good, and then you have a class in the back who are just kind of just riding around the back. Do you feel like that? Do you feel you see that when you're out there racing?
Absolutely. You've always had that select few people. You've always had the people who run mid pack, the guys who run like up front, who've always dominated every single race, and you always got the people who are just like not like they're there to have fun. They're just running around. I'm not gonna say like anything hurtful because everyone's there to compete, so you never know what can happen. Someone from like back could be up front, or someone in mid pack can be at the back, and someone at the front you normally see they could be at the back. It depends on all tracks and all the driving styles that you have. And personally, myself, I used to be a mid pack driver, but I see myself trying to move up more into the faster guys who are up front every single week, and I hope to stay there.
What are you laughing there, Adam?
So we're talking
What
about
are you laughing
the 3 classes, and Blake goes CCR has a driver in each of those tiers.
Yeah. And I could probably name them. But no, I think one thing that people don't realize a lot of times with those tiers is, it's not necessarily like hard cutoffs. It's like kind of radiant. But I also like when I go to a fuel race, I typically know the guys that I'm going to be racing against, and I know the guys that are going to be lapping me. Hayden's one of those guys that's going to be lapping me, and I'm okay with that. And Josh just said that I'm into those depending on the week. Josh Laston is an asshole. But no, I mean I think it's always about racing the guys you're with to do as good against do as well with the guys you're racing against as you can, and maybe on a single week you move up a tier. Maybe over time you kind of permanently stay there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you get used to and comfortable with the guys you're racing around. That's kind of in your class or your tier, so to speak. And then sometimes you get behind or in front of them, and you're thinking like, why am I here? Like I felt that way in AOL on Sunday when I was in Michigan. I was sitting up front and sitting and running third and fourth all night long, and I'm like, why am I here? I'm not usually in this spot. And but it was good. I mean, but it's also sometimes nervous, like I don't want to fuck up. I'm sitting up here, I don't want to be that guy. I need to be back around 7th, 8th where I'm normally running. But I mean, but in fuel, it looks like like you said, everybody can run front, they can run mid pack depending on the track. Nobody's it is solid in that third tier yet. I think it's like how Josh said, Carlson, kind of every tier depending on which track it is. And I think that's kind of how fuel is. I don't think nobody's solidly in the third tier. I think it's a mix of who's stronger at that track that week. It kind of pushes you forward or pushes you backwards in that race that night.
Well,
But-
and I mean, like, what I like about Fuel, and I don't want to say anything bad about the other leagues I race in because I love them, but the guys that are running in the back in Fuel, they're not the type of people to typically do self spins or drive into the side of someone or bounce off the wall and hit someone. They're just slower. Like it's not like
They're still solid racers.
Yeah. It's you usually. I mean, I can't remember. It was last week or the week before last that like everyone, even like to the back on practice, was within like a few tenths. I mean, in a lot of leagues you don't see that. You usually have a sharp divide, and that's one reason why I've really enjoyed racing Fuel so far.
Yeah,
So
I would be in the
Hayden-
same boat as Carl is. I would love to race this one if I wasn't broadcasting it.
I actually should join it.
Should.
Give me something to do on Monday nights. Have something to do, but I'm afraid I might wreck everybody. So, but I'll. Hayden, so you've been racing this league, and you said you've had improvements this season. What can you contribute that to?
Like what's made me better this season?
Yeah, what's difference between this season and last season?
Well, I got my head straight, kind of. I'm not going into the week just.
Yeah,
like,
you got like you got that, but I mean, was there anything else besides just having your head? I suffer from vertigo too. I know it's no party, trust me. So that's pretty much it. It's just getting back in the game.
Well, it's just my mindset was all over the place. Is what I meant. Is I was going in with a bad mindset. No, I'm not going to be up front. I'm going to run mid pack all race. I'm going in every single race now and be like, I'm going to go up front and contend for wins now. And it was just the part of it that I didn't know how to save tires either. So I was terrible in long runs. And that's what you really need to be fast here is you really need to be good in long runs because it's shown throughout the races that we can have long 50 lap green flag runs. Yes.
Captain,
All right, there we
we've
go.
got a problem.
We're back.
Captain, we're back. Baby, get back.
I don't know if we lost the stream or not, but it was acting funky on mine. It kind of grayed out. So
It went on mine too. I have it on my left monitor here.
By the way, Daytona is in a rain delay.
No,
And I think it's going to be a rain delay for a while because I just got a lightning detected in your area. Please stay sheltered for 30 minutes. So I think Daytona's not going back to racing anytime soon.
oh, I would say that's a bummer, but at the same time, I was really looking forward to watching it. And sometimes a podcast gets a way of watching some racing, and then like Wednesday nights, when we were doing Sportsman for a while, I wasn't able to watch the iRacing NASCARs getting out there, so you kind of miss them, I think. So maybe we'll be able to actually get to watch it later after the podcast is over with, if they are able to run it tonight.
Yeah, hopefully.
Doubt it. I think we're going to end up seeing them about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning because it's been raining here all day long. I drove down to New Smyrna, which is roughly 30 miles down the road here, and I hit a storm down there that was like unbelievable.
I mean, we could have Juan Pablo Montoya get out there and run into the back of a jet dryer if we need to, some nostalgia reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anybody else want to talk to Hayden and ask him any other questions that I haven't asked?
Well, I stepped away for a second because I needed another beer. But
Really?
Hayden, I'm curious. This may have been asked, but what kind of setup are you running?
Like my setup, like my
racing rig.
Yeah. Your racing rig. Are you running in VR? Are you running multi monitors? What you
Single
got?
monitor.
I got VR, but I don't use it for iRacing that much anymore. I've used it for a few races. It just made me feel sick. But so I got three 27-inch monitors that I got on sale, and I got a G29 wheel that I'm hoping to upgrade to Fanatec sometime in the near months because I just can't stand a G29 anymore.
Well, look out right now. There's going to be fire sales like crazy. Everybody's banning ship of their CSL Elites and CSL 2.5s when they get this because the new DDs are coming in. So a lot of people are selling them. So they're already flooding the market from what I'm seeing on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
As long as they're cheap enough. Yeah, I don't spend a bunch of money when I can buy the DD.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, you got, so you use a G25, you said, or G29?
G29.
G29. Yeah, it's a good wheel. It's not a bad wheel. A lot of people won lots of races with that setup.
I keep missing my G27 more, though. That wheel is...
Isn't that what
the wheel's great.
Timmy Hill races with?
Yeah.
Timmy Hill's out there. I mean, he's up there on that wheel, just like, he's bearing down on that thing, man. I was like, they were like, hey, we'll donate you a whole entire rig and everything. I think when they were doing the iRacing stuff, and everybody's talking mad about him, but he's out there whooping their asses every week.
Yeah, he refused.
He's like, nope, I'm keeping this bad boy. It's like mounted to a table on his laptop, just going to town.
So let me ask you something. This kind of outside of the racing thing. So you just graduated from high school. Now, last year, everybody was locked down. How did were you guys doing virtual graduation? What did you do? Like, how were you getting classes done up there?
We started off when COVID first hit. We just went on online, but we didn't do the Zoom calls like everyone else did. We just did teacher assigned homework. So we went and did that, but no one really did it because we found out really quickly that our marks couldn't go down. So just might as well just not do it. And so I went back in September. We actually went back to in-school learning, but then we went on a break again. So we went to Zoom calls then, and we went back again, and went back on Zoom calls again for the rest of the season. And then graduation, they finally allowed us to have a little bit of a ceremony at least. You drove up, you got on stage, you grabbed your certificate, and you got off and you went home.
You drove up, so they did it outside?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty wild. I wondered how you guys handled that compared to how we did down here in the States.
It wasn't that much different, but I mean...
Well, I know a lot of people like here in Florida. They actually did it in a arena, like they normally would. It wasn't really any different.
Yeah.
My
So-
broadcast high school here in North Carolina, or up in North Carolina where I'm at, they always do outside on the football field. So I saw pictures of my sister out there doing it. So I know that's how they kind of did it for her.
Yeah, it kind of took away a lot from the high school experience because I also didn't get prom, so that kind of sucked.
That sucks.
I was like, we just do it outside. Well, why not?
Yeah,
Man, that
I mean
sucks. No
that's
prom, no nookie.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it sucks though, in so roundabout way, because I mean, you've been gearing up for 3 years to be your senior year. You're the top dog in school, and you don't get to do anything with it. Like you don't get that special moment or feeling throughout it, however small that might have been. But you don't get it because like my daughter just finished up 8th grade, and she's like, it kind of sucked. Like I wouldn't be the big person on the campus, but now I'm back to the lowest person on the campus. You know, you got to start all over.
Oh yeah.
So, Hayden, this week you guys are racing. Where are you guys racing at?
Darlington.
That's right. Okay, so you guys are doing Darlington. So we always ask our guests to tell us who do you think is going to be the person to win this week.
Well, all I can say is this: it's not going to be me. I'll be first to Alt F4 out of the race. I'll say that. But if I gotta be on a serious note, Cameron, I'd say probably Cameron, Allen, or any of those VRA guys. They seem to have it all figured out, these types of tracks, and they got to persevere at a track like Darlington, and it's going to be such a long race as well. So it's going to be an endurance race for sure, and hopefully I can at least finish the race. That'll be a win for me. But in my past history, I've never ever finished a race at Darlington.
Really?
Never.
What's so tough about it?
I mean, I always sit there and I smack the wall down. I never wreck. I just hit the wall, and then I have my Alta 4 key ready for when I ever hit the third time. I got myself 3 strikes. If I hit it 3 times, I'm done.
Yeah, I always overdrive 3 and 4 as the runs get on, and that's kind of where my thing is. I'm normally able to manipulate 1 and 2 good enough where I keep myself away from that wall coming out of turn 2, because that's kind of where everybody kind of gets beat up there, is coming out of turn 2. 3 and 4 gets me. I always hit the center of it. I try to get. I'm not patient enough to stay off the throttle because I feel like I'm gonna get beat off the corner or whatever because I'm off the throttle way too long, and I'm like, I'm gonna get on it, and I was like, damn, that was a dumb mistake. Why do I keep doing this lap after lap?
Yeah, me and Tyler Hensley, in case you did some testing the other day. This race at Darlington's gonna be a lot more different than the past ones because the track and the setup are slick. It's like I went a turn 1 like the first lap, and I barely touched the gas. I was off fully, and I just slid right up into the wall. So it took me about 30 minutes to get 1 clean lap in without hitting the wall or sliding out of control.
Wow.
So to get over 100 laps in of that, it's not going to happen with me.
I gotcha. Well, hey man, good luck to you next week, and we'll hope to see you up in the booth there at the end in the final 3.
All right, thanks guys. Appreciate you guys for having me, and have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
thank you.
Alrighty. Well, we've covered 2 sections so far. We've gotten Ivrl and Fuel. And up next, we're gonna jump into the TNT season or series. So we got 3 of them to go to. It's dealer's choice. Which series we want to go first? Our guest races in all 3, so we can choose which one we want to go through.
Let's go ahead and go into let's go sportsman first.
Sportsman. All right. Well, let's pull in our guest tonight. We have the Pasta Man.
As
much as we see this guy in the top 3 every week, you need to go ahead and grade me like an intro for him.
What's up, guys? You guys got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy, man. How's it going?
Hiker 19, you got a copy, you got a bear there.
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing tonight?
We good.
And we're getting echo and feedback from you. I think you're listening.
I gotcha.
You got to turn. You got that whatever your phone on or whatever, and you can. That's the backlash thing.
Yes,
so you gotta
sir.
turn that off.
Turn
All
it down. Yep.
Yeah, that's we don't have that 7-second delay to dump you, so you have to do that. So.
Sorry about that.
Oh no,
No
you're fine, man.
problem.
Take 'em
Hey,
off.
I used to get all the time people call, hi, Rad, yeah, hi, this is James from Jameson, South Carolina. I just want to say LeBron James is probably gonna be the best player ever over Michael Jordan. And you'd hear him go, hey, Rad. Hey, it's my, and the echo thing. So it's not as bad, but that's what we're talking about.
I have to go off topic for just a second because you said LeBron James, and I completely forgot about this. Have I ever told you guys the story about the time that the homeless guy walked up to me at the gas station?
No.
No.
I don't know how this a homeless guy and LeBron James goes together, but I can't
Yeah,
wait to find out.
you better hear it. So I'm probably I was in college, so I was probably like 21, 22, something like that. And pulled up to a gas station near campus, so it's downtown and all of that. And they're pumping gas, and I walk inside, grab myself a Monster, and come back out, and I see a guy who very clearly homeless walking up towards me, and I'm already like going through the excuses, like, man, I money on me, like, I know I cannot go over to the McDonald's and buy you a debit card, for whatever reasons, like, legitimately, like, I couldn't. And he says, hey man, I don't know if you heard, but I just heard on the radio that they caught LeBron and D-Wade making out on the beach. And then he walked off. Not another word. And at that point, I was like, if you had followed it up with a pitch, like, hey man, can I get some money? I'm like, you have all of it, man. You have all of it. Like, it caught me so off guard.
It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why you just told me that.
For the information, but here you go.
And I'll piggyback off that story. And it's I thought it was going to be a panhandler trying to ask me for some money, and I went and ate at the wonderful Waffle House one morning with my father-in-law when I was back in North Carolina, and then later that day I went to Walmart with my kid, and this dude goes, "Hey man, I saw you at Waffle House this morning. Saw your hat, man. What's going on? I got a quick question for you." And he's standing like in between the double doors of going in and out. I'm just like, oh crap, man, he's about to panhandle me. And he's like, no, man. So I'm sitting there. I came into town. I'm not new, or I'm new here. I don't know anything about it. I've parked my tractor trailer in the thing, and they're like, hey, no, you got to move it across the street. And I was like, all right, cool. What's going on? He's like, well, whose fault is it, man? They towed my tractor trailer because of I parked over there. Apparently that's not their property. And it just kept going on and on. I was like, man, how in the world did I get trapped into this? But it was because of my hat. But I seriously thought he was about to start panhandling me and start going to it, but it just went to this weird oddball conversation, and I was just like, all right, well, hopefully you figure this out, man. Have a great day.
That I actually had a homeless guy come in the shop today that I figured he's going to open up his guitar case and he's going to have this piece of crap guitar. He opens up his case, he had like a $2,500 guitar in the case. He goes, yeah, I'm just trying to make some money busking on the side of the road out here with a $2,500 guitar. Why don't you just sell that bitch and do something?
Yeah, he needed the money, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. I offered him money for it, but he's, no, man, I'm trying to make money off of this busking. It's easy. Okay. So back to
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Now that we talked about homeless people, because I've got a lot of homeless stories, because I'm in in Dirktona, we got lots of homeless people here.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you've been on kind of a tear, actually, as of late. I mean, for most part. Was it
directed towards me or Carl? I don't know.
No. We're talking to you, Blake Ziti, the Pasta Man. You've been kind of on a tear in a lot of ways. I mean, we're talking sportsman, but you actually have had pretty good finishes in that as well.
Yeah, well, just trying to get better each and every week that you get out there on the track. Try to learn from the better guys that are around you. especially guys, racing on my team. Pretty much everybody in there has got something on me, so you can learn from each and one of those guys. And then there's nothing like race situations. So I'm not trying. I don't think I'm gonna go in there and win a sportsman the first season I'm in it, but if I could climb up the ladder each week, then that's progress to me. So I appreciate that.
I will
Nick
say
won a
this.
race.
Well, hey, Nick won a race. We'll leave it at that. And I have to say, your teammate, Sean Carmody, won a race. And honestly, racing against both of you guys, I felt like you guys were pretty equal. I think Sean maybe has a slight edge over you, but I wouldn't count yourself out yet, man.
Yeah, not to count myself out. You just got to know where you're at, and you don't want to. You get humbled every time you're out there, especially running these other races or these other leagues that we do. You get humbled real quick when you think that you're on a tear, and then you could be put down pretty fast with these other guys. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I could see the gains every week, and if I could just build off of that, seems like I have a pretty decent foundation underneath me to get to that top step eventually.
Yeah, you've. Every time I've raced around you, I automatically know I'm in for some major competition, a race around you, because you've come so far. I wish I had got as much talent as you've actually got right now. You've really come a long ways, and so.
And you've adapted pretty quickly because you go back and look. One of your first races there when you got moved up into the Cup Series was a plate track. You were all over the place to start with during the practice and a little bit there in the beginning of the race. And it's like, okay, am I going to be around this guy during Cup? Because it's kind of like my first intro to you, because I think I missed some of the sportsman's races that you were in before you guys got promoted up. I'm like, am I going to be around this guy or not? He's tearing the field up in TNT, but how is he translating it over? And it looked like it took you just a little bit of wiggle room to figure out exactly how to manipulate these Cup cars. But you and both Sean, you guys came through, and now you guys are tearing it up, and now you're forced to be reckoned with on Sunday nights as well.
Well, yeah, that's the goal. That's what I was saying. Even having Sean to being one of my closest friends, having him have that kind of competition, and we're so close to each other, it's definitely drives me to do his best, the best I can every time I'm on the track. And even if going slower means faster at the end of the race, that that's more or less is what I'm learning. Is that you could drive a car fast for one lap, but that doesn't mean anything. You could do that one time, and sure, you get a nice lap. But at the end of the race, when you have to do 40 of those, that's not the line you're going to take. That's not the race you're going to run. You need to know that before going into it. And that's really hard to grab or grasp quickly. It's really going to take experience to get there.
Hey, stop giving away the secret. That's how I won Atlanta in TNT. So don't be telling everybody to slow down to be faster later.
But yeah, look at Brandon. The guy is, the first thing that Brandon actually said to us is that, we elevated his game because he didn't want to be the slower guy on the team. He's like, I got to step it up if these guys are here. So he automatically, like, you could see a transition when we came in. It elevated our whole team to another level because Brandon started pushing himself, and hats off to him. I'm like really happy for him. He's been putting it together each and every week, which is, it's hard. Carl knows, Josh knows, like all you guys know, it's hard to go there every week and run all different types of tracks, all different kind of terrain, and be able to drive the car fast.
So you're in Endeavor. All right. So you've got Blake, you have Sean, you have Brandon, the
other Blake,
yeah, and you have John. So how do you?
Joshua Mays too. Don't forget about that guy.
Joshua, I forgot Joshua Mays. Yeah. I always forget about him.
Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, I always forget about him.
So Blake just threw it out there. He says Brandon has a rare shot this week. If he wins on Sunday, he could have a triple crown. He could win all 3 series in 1 week.
It's
You know,
true.
that-
He could.
that is
Nobody's
a
done
damn-
that before.
That is a damn good point, and I don't want to take anything away from Brandon.
I
but
got him. He's not doing it.
What? No, I wouldn't normally consider him a contender, but we're at Daytona. He's got a legit shot. But back to Joshua Mays real quick. I don't know if Joshua watches podcasts. Like I know he doesn't comment a ton, but real fact here, something that I had told my team before, but I haven't really openly said it. But back when CCR was only a 2-person team, me and Chris Oliver, I had considered inviting Joshua Mays to be the first third CCR team member, and because the dude is awesome to race with, and I think he gets overlooked a lot. And then Endeavor beat me to it, so I wish you raced more. I love racing with the guy.
Yeah, I think he gets out there and he just doesn't have the time to put it in there. And then,
Yeah.
when you don't have the time to put it in there, it kind of shows on the track somewhat. The racecraft is awesome. It's just, you're just not the fastest guy out there on the track that night.
Yep.
Right. And so with you guys, 6 guys on your team, when you guys are in chat in your Discord and stuff, who's the ringleader? Is there anybody that you guys all kind of lean on to kind of give you a better grasp of each track, or is it just everybody kind of in cohesive, telling each other how they're getting around the track?
Well, obviously, when Blake's there and he's running with us, he's one of the first guys we'd go to. We ask him questions, but depending on what league or what night, what series you're running that night, the TNT, I lean on Brandon a bit. But not to say we all help each other out. Like if there's any kind of information that I have that has helped me with my lap staying in the green, then I give it out to the team. And if they take it and it helps them, then it's a plus. But it's not like we're holding anything back. Maybe a little bit at times we are a little guarded in the TNT because me, Sean, and Brandon were all going for those top steps, like 5, top 5 there. So I would say that we share as much as we can without giving away the whole pie.
Oh, I like the way you reference the pie.
Yeah, we got all the food schemes going, so the pie seems relative to the to the nights.
All right, guys, anybody?
So, this past week, what do you think about the race at Gateway?
Gateway Sportsman.
Yes, that's where we're still in that little transition segment before we move over to the next one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna have much to take on it. I was not there that night. I was on late night at work that day, and I didn't make it. But I'm gotta watch back the broadcast to see what happened. I know my my guy Brandon got the win, which is great, and the whole team I think did pretty well that night. Is what I got. There was a little bit of drama, also, but for the team it worked out. I see.
What was the drama that you heard?
I don't know. I think there was some sort of spin out onto the pit road, spin off of the pit road, somehow getting to the top 3. I don't know what
happened was we were finally coming down to our first and only green flag pit stop that we're going to get to, and Sean spun going in the pit road and threw out a caution. But it was a self spin, and underneath the rules state that he does not have to be penalized because it's a self spin. Like there's no EOL for that. So he spun, but was able to gather it up and keep going. He went in, came out of pit road 3rd. A lot of people had to do wave rounds because a lot of people have already pitted. So that was like the controversy or like the aggravation point of the night. And I know Joe was upset as he just tossed it. He just went out there. He's like, I had a 5+ second lead, and he was just driving away from the field. And he got caught on pit road and wasn't able to do service his vehicle for it. And then once he was able to pit and do that, he started back in 20th almost. So it was just kind of aggravating and upset. But I mean, there's really nothing you can do. He couldn't be penalized because there's nothing in the book for it. There's no rule book saying, hey, you self spin, you're able to kind of profit. It's kind of like, the Dell Jr. wreck that he purposely
That's what I
did for
was thinking.
himself. And
Yeah,
then
that's
he
what I
was
was gonna say.
like, oh, hey, look, I wrecked it. Oh, look, I didn't damage my car, kept going. But I mean, I know Sean didn't do that on purpose or anything like that. It was just a freak accident. But
Right.
he benefited from it, so to speak, and was able to get a spot and back up in third and kind of stayed up there for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, and then you could also say that he had enough skill to gather it back up. You
Well,
know,
no,
he didn't.
I'm not blaming him or saying anything
Just
bad.
saying, devil's advocate. It
Oh,
could been. You could be looking at it the other way and say he could have crashed his car and been out of the race. You know, it was just worked out in his favor, I
oh
guess.
yeah,
It seems.
it was the only time I raced into a caution when they shouldn't have. This
Right,
week.
right. He did say, he did mention to me that he thinks that some sort of penalty in that case of a matter should have been thrown, but you know, it would be something that the league would have to put into their rules.
Yeah, and Sean did the right thing. He checked up on the radio and said, "Am I being penalized? Because I don't know why I'm up here. Like I shouldn't be here." Like
Yeah.
he spoke up. He did the right thing. I'm not, I'm not giving my saying what he did was bad or good because there's nothing, nothing in the rule book that said it. It's just a freak accident. He spun, was able to gather it back up, and before he gathered it though, the caution came out and he got the benefit due to a new rule not being there in place, and he owned up
Right.
to it. And he's like, "Hey, it was my fault. It was a self spin. But do you want to penalize me or not?"
Right, which I guess is the best thing in his situation he could have done was at least own up to it, and if the admins didn't serve a penalty right there and then he's the one that, benefited from the whole situation, which is, it's good for us.
Yeah.
But I think that the team, or not the team, but at least the league should maybe look at that situation.
Oh yeah, and that's all one of those little one-off scenarios that will probably never, ever happen again. That only time you ever write a rule for it is when something like that happens. So
Right.
it's just one of those things.
Teaches us, yeah.
It's just frustrating kind of in the moment, but I mean, he did the right thing, and by saying, "Hey, I messed up. What am I supposed to do? Like, you're going to penalize me because I'm cool if you do." So, but yeah, we'll digress off of that one, and we'll move into TNT series. We kind of like.
Wait, we gotta get his pick on who you think's gonna win Sportsman this week.
Oh,
We gotta do that. Yeah, we'll go around the horn with this. We'll go around all three of us, four, whatever, how many there are. Because even though Blake doesn't have a picture of himself, he's got a motorcycle guy.
Vroom, vroom.
Who's going first here?
we'll
We'll go with Adam.
I gotta look and see what the schedule is. I forgot what's next week. Oh, Nashville's no, that's way back then. We're going to Chicagoland. Ooh, Chicagoland's gonna be it's gonna be one of those wonderful intermediates, bigger tracks. It's gonna be a good one. Man, who would be a good pick? Because there's a lot of people who've not coming back, so that I would most likely pick. So let me look right quick.
You say people aren't coming back. Who are we losing? I'm
Uh,
just asking. You threw that out there.
So
Maybe it's just
the
clickbait.
top two heavy hitters in the league on Wednesday nights are not coming back.
Who's that?
Justin Anderson and Blake Gordon.
No, Blake came back, I thought.
No, Blake's back on Sunday nights. Blake's
Just for
working.
the cup.
Okay, so we lost those two top guys. So, man, it's up for grabs then. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go with the other Justin, the Justin T. Rodden, my new teammate. He's been strong on these tracks, and I think he's itching for a win. And he showed speed. I would have to either choose him or Greg. Those two are kind of been battling like crazy. I think Greg's become the natural favorite on Wednesday nights as well. That's kind of come out and win every week.
Carl?
Not so fast. So I'm looking at last year's results at Chicagoland, and obviously we've had a lot of league changes since then, a lot of new guys, a lot
Track
of guys
differences.
left, that sort of thing. But I look at a guy who normally is a top 10 car, but he finished 4th last year at Chicagoland and won last week. I'm picking Brandon Bernhardt.
Brandon Bernhardt. Gee, we've never seen him win before. All right, so I'm actually gonna go with Dan Shirley.
I can't remember what
He
I can't remember what
he
night.
finished 3rd last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be what night he says. I think Wednesday nights he says are going to be available, or Sundays.
I can't remember which time. I thought it was he'd been running some Wednesdays.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. I was going to ask that question.
Okay,
Yeah,
so if
work life has kind of gotten in his way, and he's been traveling, doing a lot of things from work, from what I've been told.
All right, so then if he is not going to run, I'm gonna go with let's see. I'm gonna go with Sean Carmody. So I think this might be his race. Sorry, Blake. I would say you, but I think Sean's just had a little bit more better karma than you have.
Yeah, Sean is definitely a good pick. He's way more consistent. But with the information that Carl just fed us, I would say I'm gonna have to back him up on that with Brandon, just because he's on a hot streak. His confidence is high, and when your confidence is high, even though it's a sim, you just drive better.
True. Very true. So we've all got our picks for sportsmen. Let's go ahead and transition into let's wait. We'll leave Cup for we'll do Cup now and we'll leave TNT for last. How about that? Because TNT actually was a pretty good race last night. So we'll leave that for last. Plus we want is our buddy Josh out there still watching?
I haven't seen him comment a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's struggling tonight. So
Yeah, I know. So we wish him well. Hopefully he feels better. So, but we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and we'll leave TNT for last. How about that?
Sounds good. So let's go and we went to Michigan. No, not you, Josh Hanner. The other Josh. So Josh, Josh Hanner just commented out there on the YouTube land.
Oh,
right here.
He's
someone watches on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
he said, "Oh, never mind the real Josh." Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah, CCR's got 2 Joshes and 2 Chris's.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Chris Pacini,
Yep.
Chris Oliver, Josh Hanner, Josh Laston.
It's funny. I don't know about you guys, but we had in our band, we actually had 2 guys by the same night. We had 2 Toms in the band. So we end up having, since you're sitting on stage, you go, "Hey Tom, you need to do this or whatever," and both of them go, "What?" So we had to name one just by their first name or their first letter. So one became T and the other one became Tom. So do you guys have anything like that since you have?
Well, so we don't. I mean, so we call by last names for the people who came second. So you've got Chris, who's Chris Oliver. You've got Josh, who is Josh Laston. Then you have Pacini and Hanner. But keeping on the theme of 2s, you also have 2 assholes, and that's me and Nick.
I thought there's only one asshole, Nick.
I'm a closet asshole.
No, you've always been good with me, so I have no problem with you. So I can't say anything bad about you. Plus, you're from one of my favorite towns, Columbia, South Carolina. So I've got no problem with you. Woo!
I appreciate that.
But yeah.
I also just realized that Justin Anderson also posts on Facebook. I really should keep Restream pulled up. Justin Anderson's everywhere.
Yeah, Justin decided he wanted to jump over to YouTube and start commenting over there now.
God, that's pretty bad. Let's all join on YouTube. Actually, you should. We actually, we like people getting on YouTube because if you get on YouTube, we actually can grow followers. And if you're on YouTube, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button to the Ghostfire Media podcast. So we get those. Hit the like button also. You got to hit that. Maybe hit the bell notification so you know it next time that we are live. And while you're there, please stop by the Randy's Attic page and give me a like and a subscribe. So,
Well,
Jim's plug.
We got Hannah out there saying, but there's only one hot Carl.
Absolutely. There's only one hot Carl. I mean, Carl's probably, I mean, he's the second best looking guy racing right now. I mean, second best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now start thinking about who's the first best looking guy.
I don't think about that. Sorry. That's not in my wheelhouse.
I always love when people start thinking, who's the best?
But all right, so Blake said Nick Adams. But so
100%.
we're talking about Michigan on Sunday night, where we had a heck of a race there. We had a lot of green flag laps, a lot of good tight battles off and on. I mean, that track is wonderful to race, in my opinion. There's so many different groups that you can kind of adapt to and overcome that track when the car is loose, when the car is tight, when it's pushing up the corner. Like, you're able to back off the corner, you're able to run high, you're able to run low. So I really loved the track last week. What was your take up there in the booth there, Carl?
I knew you were about to ask me that, and honestly, I have to pull up some notes because I don't remember the races. I called so many races that I don't know. I remember there was racing, and there was some decent green flag racing. I think the setup led some good racing. So I am trying to pull up the notes here.
Hey, I'll just tell you this while you're looking at your notes. I don't know how many laps I ran. I didn't run a whole lot. And Johnny actually reached out to me and goes, "Hey, man, why did you drop out of the race?" And it's the same thing in the channel. When I was with Derek, and Derek's like, "Where are you going?" I go, "Walking Dead's on. I got to go watch the Walking Dead." Season premiere was on.
Yeah, so like Justin Anderson just wrote, the setup was great. So it was a little bit looser than the default setup at the beginning. I mean, you had to flirt with the throttle a little bit whenever you're in traffic, getting those long drafting runs in the corners, but it made for the car not tightening up as much and pushing through the corners there like the normal default set was. So, it made for a lot nicer run later on in the stretch. A lot of people saved their tires. There's a lot of different pit strategies that happened that night. People were coming in trying to work as a team. So whenever you came out, you would be able to draft together. I think when we first started off, the SHR guys, we were up front for the first 4 to 5 spots, maybe 6. And then Hannah and Chris Bassini started coming through the field, and we got a few cautions that came out, bunched the field back up, and then we just went, I think we went green the whole entire way after that. We had 2 green flag pit stops, and I know I slid through the box on both of them because I don't think I've done a complete 100% fuel run all the way through and tested the pit limits. The second time I went through, I was hoping to stop in time, and I was not able to. And these guys are having a hell of a fucking time there on Facebook right now.
What is going on? I guess I gotta watch. Carl, did you have some notes?
I got distracted by Facebook. I can't help myself.
I have to look.
Yeah, they're going at it.
There was some conversation. John Gordon had wife stuff, so he joined late. We'll leave it at that. And Blake replied at a poor time. So
Yep.
all there is to it.
Yeah. But
I can't even find. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. Let's see what these guys. Oh my God.
no.
Dancing women.
So
Yeah. So the cup race.
The cup.
So I'm looking. Greg Welland just dominated again. Like it once again, it I feel like we've kind of in the Cup Series gone through phases where it felt like for a little while nobody could beat Justin Anderson and nobody could beat Blake Gordon. Then for a little while nobody could beat Josh Hanner, and now all of a sudden Greg Welland. It's like he feels like he is untouchable at this point. What are these guys going to have to do to beat Greg Welland?
Take him out. I mean, I'm in his team chat now, so it's good to be able to see what everybody's doing, hearing what everybody's doing. Because I joined a team where everybody's running up, has the ability to run up front any given week. And to listening to Justin, listening to Greg, to Joe, Kevin Pearson did really great last week. He just came back. Steve's in there, so I'm listening to all the feedback they're giving me, and I'm giving them my feedback, and we're going through it and just trying to figure out which lanes are the lanes to run. And Greg actually kind of did his own thing whenever it came to pit stops. He ran the fuel all the way out, and whereas everybody else kind of short pitted a few, maybe 5-6 laps prior, because it was still going to be the same amount of stops, but Greg just ran it out, and he was just able to use those fresh tires saved up and drove back through the field. And for a while, everybody's like, "Hey, you want to pass me?" "No, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at." And Greg will be like, "Hey, man, I think I'm a little bit faster." And they're like, "All right, I'm gonna let you go on by," because they don't want to use up their stuff holding them back. But he was able to really save his tires there, and that just played key to him being able to run back up through the front near the end. I think Passini and Hanner tried doing it. I think Hanner just got messed up on a pit stop there as well, or something to the effect of that kind of pushed him back.
Honestly, no offense to Hanner. Hanner really seemed off pace the entire race. Passini had his moments where it seemed like he might be able to do something, but he started so far in the back that he had to do some unique pit strategies, pitting early to try, gain time, and lost it later. But what, and Chris Passini says he short pit for shits and giggles. But honestly, it worked for a little bit. He gained a lot of spots.
Yeah, he drove up to the field. Like I'm sitting there going, him and Andrew Burgess both. They both drove through the field magnificently together, because it was I think 4 or 5 of us at the beginning, just kind of pulling away. Next thing you know, Andrew and Chris Passini, I just saw them on the relative, just ticking up closer and closer, and we're like, "Hey guys, we got to get moving! Like they're coming!" And then as soon as they got by me, I think my car just fell off. I think my car just didn't like the way it was handling, and Chris Passini and Andrew Burgess just took off.
So with the question about Greg Welland specifically, the reason I'm asking is not so much about this past race. It's a similar. We're talking a lot about momentum and confidence, and Greg Welland has a lot of both right now. And I had this conversation with my CCR teammates earlier. Like, I'm feeling the same way about Brandon Bernhardt right now in the TNT series, in that on an individual race, I may be able to look and point and say, okay, I was faster than him here, or Josh was faster than him here. But he keeps finding himself in these positions where he's just winning, or at least finishing really well. And Greg Welland's doing the same thing in the Cup Series. How do you stop that? Like, what is there you can do to say, like, I'm going to break this momentum?
Hopefully Lady Luck just jumps on your side for once.
Yeah.
He's made, different calls than everybody else on the team, and everybody else on the track at that. There's only like 1 or 2 people that actually did a full fuel run. Everybody else kind of short pitted it by like 2 or 3 laps, and some of them, like Chris Passini, did a lot sooner than that, because we knew that the way the first couple cautions fell, it gave us leadway to be able to drop it down to either 2 or 3 pit stop race. I can't remember what it was. And but you had a good leadway of how many laps you can make it there. So it's you could short pit it, or you can run it out, like I said. And I think Greg pulled it out the best by running the tank completely dry. But Passini also was able to short pit it and run a little bit harder than everybody else to gain up that momentum to start with. And then I think he did really well at holding off everybody on those older tires, because just like any other track, you got to, push a little bit, but then also then back off and run fast laps, but make them slow enough where you're not heating up that front right tire there in Michigan.
So we're going into the chase, right? Like, starting out at Daytona, and I forget where we go from there. I think Darlington's in this first round, and what's the third round? Is it Roval, or is that the second round?
No, the second one's Richmond.
Okay, so
No, so we got
Yeah.
Daytona, Darlington, Bristol.
Bristol,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So let me pull up the chase standings here and take a look. What I'm trying to figure out here is, obviously Greg Welland built him up a lot there, but he's irrelevant when it comes to the chase, unfortunately, because he got into the Cup Series too late. I'm looking here at guys like Adam Wood.
Yep, me.
I'm looking at Don Warnke, Jason Swan, Ed Springer, Kevin Pearson, Tony Pan, and Wim Cleanbill, Tim St. Jean. Those are the guys that are kind of like right there at that bubble. I mean, actually, if it goes further, like Kevin Haas, Steve Gottschalk, Brandon Bernhardt, Andrew Burgess, a lot of ties. What do you guys have to do if you want to advance to the next round?
For me, is not being caught up in the big one or ones at Daytona. I mean, that's the key right there. I mean, playing that one smart. You can run up at front, you can run up back. It doesn't really matter where you run at Daytona. There's always that risk of somebody wrecking you, or you being caught up in the wreck, or you causing the wreck. So I mean, it's just having luck on your side and being able to play the right strategies in lanes and having people work with you at Daytona. Darlington, it's going to be a tricky track to be able to try and not wreck yourself out of that, because Darlington's the track, like we've said earlier, you have to race the racetrack before you actually start racing the competitors. It's going to be mainly single file through 1 and 2. You're passing corners 3 and 4. I mean, there's some people that try and do 1 and 2 as a passing corner. It can be done. I prefer, if you're going to pass me, do it 3 and 4. That's me the better option. You have more space. I feel like 1 and 2 is so fast paced and slingshotty that trying to jam 2 cars in that almost single lane is detrimental for you. And then Bristol, you're gonna have to qualify well. That's going to be the key on that one. You're going to have to qualify well and stay up front all night.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough track for sure.
So this next question's targeted at ZD, and I want an honest answer out of you, not a friendly teammate answer. Blake Gordon has to be the favorite going into the playoffs for the Cup.
Yep.
How does anybody? What is the path for someone to beat Blake Gordon?
I mean, I think everyone could probably agree, like or dislike, how he's driving or how he drives. The man could drive just about any car at any track, and every time he gets in the car, you know that he's going to be a contender. So it's who's going to be able to adapt to the different tracks, the different styles of driving. Obviously, it's all going to be in one car, but it's still, he's going to show up every week, and he's going to be that 1, 2, 3 guy. So, he's going to be a thorn in anybody's side that's going to go for that championship.
I think it's going to come down to putting in more laps than him. I mean, I don't know how many laps Blake does. I don't go back and look at VRS. I don't know if he hides it or if he puts it out there for everybody to see. But at the same time, no matter how many laps he puts in, you're going to put it in triple. And that's kind of how I feel that, you're going to have to kind of outdo him, is be able to run a better strategy, manage your tires better than him, and somehow find that speed in the long run to be able to run him down.
It's going to be difficult for anybody, though. I just look at it like this. Like, Blake is one of the younger drivers in the entire league. And just that, not that the older guys that started this league, coming up through the game, like, they didn't get it as young as Blake did. He's probably learned a lot in a short amount of time. I just think that the experience that he's run these tracks before, he knows these tracks. He has data from these tracks prior years. So it's just going to take a lot. And that's not because he's my teammate. It's just, you can watch it. It's facts.
I think
Yeah,
what you're trying.
it's-
I think what you're trying to say is that Blake had started driving after the invention of the wheel.
I mean, yeah, right. No, that's a little harsh, man. Come on.
Hey guys, I mean, I remember John when he was racing. I mean, because Blake, I'm one of those older guys that's been racing with these guys for 25 plus years, and I can remember John racing, and you can hear him on the comment, talking between the Discord or what, not Discord, but I can't remember what we used to use, but he'd tell him, go sit down, Blake, or something like that. You'd hear him telling Blake to do something while we were racing. So he was watching his dad race when he was just a little kid.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like in your blood. It's just, I don't know. It's nothing against the older guys. It's just, I feel like when you're brought up around it, it's so
Thanks,
different.
TeamSpeak. You just said it came
Yeah.
back on TeamSpeak. Yeah, that's exactly. I should know that because I still use it to race in the Boars League. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, and somebody commented it's muscle memory. Yeah, our muscle memory when we're old guys are like, hell, and it's not working right tonight,
I mean, I
So-
don't count any of these guys out though. They're all competitors, and Blake can have a bad night. That can happen to any one of us. Daytona is anybody's race, as we know. We see Nick Adams get a win at a super speedway because of situations of close racing, and it just he put himself in a good position. Yes, keeping himself up there, but anybody could win that race.
Yes, absolutely. And I like I said, Blake had said, comment with Blake Gordon told me he was going to sit behind me and push me to a win just so I can make the playoffs. And if you believe that, I've got a great piece of property down the Everglades to sell you.
Yeah, but no, I mean this week, like you said, that we're going to be at Daytona, and a win, you're in. So you win Daytona, you win at Darlington, you win at Bristol, you're moving to the next round. You can sit out the I don't know if you can really truly sit out the next 2 weeks just in spite if you win at Daytona. But that's the mentality, because I know Justin Anderson at one point brought up, he's like, hey, I'm going to miss a few races throughout it. It's going to suck to be able to work this hard to go all the way through it and not be able to do it. But then they clarified the rules that says if you win one race within it, you're able to move on to the next round. So I mean that's really great, because I mean that makes enticing for people to win Daytona this weekend, not just to try to ride the back for points night.
Yeah, I think it's going to make it interesting for sure. I always seem like when we were around Daytona was kind of earlier in the season, and a lot of the guys were being cautious in the pack, like they weren't trying to push 3 wide. And now they're going to have to be up in that mix, so it's going to be exciting.
And I mean, but the thing is, what happened as well since the first race of the season, running Daytona, is a whole new drafting package for Cup. So it's not what we're used to, where you're going to have 2 lines moving and grooving like it's a symbiotic relationship. You're going to need a lot of teamwork and a lot of help to make that outside line work. So Tuesday night we saw in Ivrl, we ran basically all the bottom lap, and I mean for the most of the race, until we started doing pit stops, and then kind of got chaotic until everybody got cycled through. But it became a one groove track because nobody wants to be that guy to put on the outside. You jump in like normally you could be like, hey, I'm in 3rd spot, I got a good run coming out of turn 2, I jump out, the guy behind you jumps out, bam, you can now running with the leaders. You got to have 4, 5, 6 cars. I mean, almost either 1 or 2 more cars at top than what you have at the bottom.
So, do we think that possibly this week we might see some guys make some moves that they normally wouldn't make because they're trying to make the playoffs?
Yeah,
Or do we think
100%.
they're just, so we all agree that we're going to see some people do some stuff that they normally wouldn't do just because they want to make the playoffs.
I think what's going to happen, kind of like what happened Tuesday night. first 5-6 laps going to be chaotic. People will jump from lane to lane, try to get the push, try to move to the front, try to make the outside work. And then that outside lane is going to fade off. We're going to drop down to a single file line for the most part. You're going to still have onesies and twosies trying to make that outside lane work. It's going to be fruit oil, and they're going to just have to kind of suck it up and lose a lot of spots by, trying to make that work. They're going to move to the back, and then a late, probably like 10, 15 laps to go, the outside lane is going to come in, and everybody's going to scramble, and whoever is that last person to pull out to be in the top lane. So if you're in fifth and you see things rolling ahead of you, you jump out. Now you're the first guy in that top lane, and it's going to work. And by doing that, if you're in that top 5, I believe, in that bottom line, you stall that whole entire bottom line when you jump out, because that bubble that fourth guy in the lines was hoping to get, he's not getting anymore. So, it's a new way of doing it, and a lot of people don't know, and it's going to take a while to get used to it. And I'm hoping we get a lot of people in practice early. We're going to do some pit parties for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we think do we think that any car make has an advantage over another car make?
Not in iRacing, no. I don't think there's anything really that plays into that, in my opinion.
Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
I do. I think it's who's got the guy who could push the best in the team, and that's gonna help you big time here.
Also, it helps if they're Chevy. That's a joke. So, do we want to do? We're running out of time here. Do we want to do winner picks and then move on to TNT?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, Adam.
Since I can't pick myself, because that's who I would pick. It's an anybody battle, so but I'm gonna go shot in the dark. Andrew Burgess. I'm just gonna go with a random person that always runs great, that could find himself up there. You, Carl?
Yeah. So I've been accused for a long time of being a Blake Gordon fanboy. Like, I don't think there's any denying that. Except for the fact that everyone's wrong. I am actually an Endeavor fanboy, and I'm going to pick 2 in a row, and I'm going to say that he's going to keep the streak alive. I'm picking Brandon Bernhardt.
Ah, man.
Wow.
I was saying the same thing.
Really? Wow.
What about you, Randy?
Confidence matters is all I'm going to say. Confidence matters a lot.
Wow. I was Hanner running?
Should be.
He is. And to be fair, Hanner is very, very good at super speedways.
That's what I was thinking. He was good. I was thinking this was not one of those tracks he doesn't like, because I know there are certain tracks he doesn't like. But I'm gonna pick Hanner.
Solid
That's gonna be
pick.
my pick. Blake?
Yep. I mean, I just like Carl said, man. He's got the hot hand. You got to go with him, and if you hit, it's we're gonna look like superstars here. So we got to go with Brandon.
I always pick the underdog. So if I'm wrong, it's like, oh, well, yeah, he picked someone that wasn't likely to win. But if I'm right, oh man,
I don't know, man. He's driving so good. It just seems like he figured something out in the last few weeks.
It would be awesome to have him get up there and get the triple winner here, the first ever in AOLL that I know of.
Let's
it's the first one.
Brandon is probably one of the most underrated drivers, right? And he's so patient in his driving, and he's fast. So that I think patience might be what you need to get to the end of the race at Daytona, and then you pull the trigger. He's got it.
Definitely. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I would love to see him do it. I really would. I think that would be really neat to see a person win all 3 in 1 week. I think that would be really awesome to see him do it. So
I'm not going to push him if I'm up there. I don't want to see it happen.
Come on.
Oh yeah. He's probably hating us discussing things, because he's like trying to hope that he can come in as like, just under the radar, and we're all talking like, oh yeah, like nobody's going to work with
The only the
Well,
one
we got to make up points.
I think the person that I pushed to a win, I think it was at Dega and Sportsman, was Kevin Haas to see the number 3 in the victory lane. That's instead of pulling out to try to take him out of turn 4, I was like, Kevin's going to get this one. I'm going to push him to the end.
Yeah. All right, let's transition out of this and go into TNT, and we'll just end this thing up here. A pretty good race in TNT. All right, what the hell are you reading there, Carl?
It's picking on the Oford. Blake Gordon has an Oford DF.
What? What?
You have to read the comments.
I'm reading that. I don't. Oh, God. Oh my God.
I think Adam made a typo, and
no, I did do a typo because Justin said I won't push a forward. So
yeah,
makes do happen.
I see.
I'm glad I do that.
I see.
I need Justin Anderson to push me because I've always picked on Justin since one of the first super speedways we ran, and I jumped out of line coming out of turn 4 at Dega, I think, and Justin was right behind me, but his 2 teammates were in front of me, and instead of helping me push me past his teammates, he went with his teammates and left me high and dry. So I've always, give him shit about it every single time. So that's the reason why he goes, yeah, I'm not going to push a forward.
Wonder why he put that, and I was like, well, that rules out Adam. So
I think Justin actually pushed Nick to his truck win, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So but hold on, that was a Ford because we
I don't know.
I think
Chevy, no?
Chevy, yeah.
We're in the process of switching the Ford. I don't know if we all switched yet. So I'm a Chevy guy, but I was convinced. So
you're convinced that the Ford worked?
I was outvoted more than anything, but
okay.
It's a democracy, CCR.
We swap whenever I first put together first response racing. That's kind of we're like nobody really runs a Yoda, so we're gonna go out there and run Yoda, and we did that for the first season, and then second year we're like, all right, it's on your own. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so let's actually talk TNT now. I got to sidetrack by laughing.
All right, so last night, Nashville Super Speedway, a lot of green flag laps. At first, we thought it was going to be, caution-filled night. It was just a solo event, though, that triggered it. It wasn't anything major. It was just a solo spin from Mark Schilling. He got out there and just got loose coming off the corner. And we're like, here we go again. And then they proved us wrong up here in the booth. It went green. Just got, I think, was it one more caution that night? Almost halfway through. So you guys were able to get a good pit stop in between your near the end with like 30, 40 to go.
Yeah, that was the only thing that helped them because me and you both thought we might see a green flag stop, and it didn't happen.
Let me bitch about that for a second because I mean, it would have benefited me to go long because at that point, I mean, the only hope I had of any competition there was having a long run, and I practiced a ton of focus in doing long runs, and then I'm involved in bringing out the caution. It was incredibly frustrating, and the more and more I've watched that replay from every possible angle. And I don't know what the hell iRacing was thinking. I felt like I had if netcode hadn't happened, I don't think there's any contact there. We were close, but Tim was a lane higher. I was incredibly frustrated. I really, really wanted to stay green because my plan the entire time was to stay out, wait for people to pit, and then you saw what happened to Josh Laston. He pitted. He had fresh tires. He spun out? I was hoping to stay out and bring out a caution, come in under caution. It didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, and we didn't get to show that wreck in like length. So we made the best judgment call there. Kind of looked like you drove it in a little hard, but the admins came on there and said it was net code. So I mean, net code can be a tricky, finicky thing, and really ruin people's nights for no reason, and it sucks. It happens more in the truck, so in the ARCA, but it does happen, and it sucks because having a really great run and you either boot somebody else or somebody boots you.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be clear, like I did come in hot, and if I had known that Tim was going to break where he did, I would have braked earlier. But the thing is, like, at that point, I mean, Tim was really fast on short runs, really fast on short runs. He was competing with Brandon early on. I think
He
led some
led.
laps. Yeah, I mean, he was
Yeah.
super fast, but he was burning through his tires quickly. At that point in the race, his tires were shot.
Mhm.
And we saw it happen in the second run as well. I actually came over the radio and told him, like, hey, man, go ahead and pass me on that second run. Partially because I felt like I owed it to him because of that incident earlier, but
Come
also
on,
because I was
you knew you were
terrified.
getting them.
Well, I was terrified that he was going to wreck me if I if I didn't let him by. And so I pulled up. I'm like, go, man. And then the moment he gets by me, and I was faster than him because I was faster on a long run. And I had been trying on that first one. I had been trying to pass him, and we had Tom Stevens up high. I'll admit, I was really focused to make sure he was a lap down, making sure that we were going to get by him safely, and it happened. I hate that it happened because Tim is one of the guys. Look, I'll wreck Blake ZD all the time. I have no problem with that.
Of course.
But
Yeah,
But-
so we'll go to
but
that.
Tim, I'm not going to wreck Tim.
We'll go with that one. So we were like, hey, let's get Blake ZD on the horn tonight. I hit up Carl. I was like, hey man, do you got his personal number? I know you do by this time now. you skipped Discord and Facebook. You went straight
Oh,
to
yeah.
getting his
We're
personal
PayPal buddies.
personal contact information from him.
That's funny. So, Blake, I mean, you've been pretty much on fire. You haven't won, but you've been so consistent. You've just been like knocking at that door. Just you got to think, like I said to you last night, if Brandon hadn't come back, you would have had a win last night.
Yeah, or you could say if Nick quit a week earlier, I probably could have had a win. But no, I know. Me and Nick, we talked about it, but I really think the other race, Martinsville, was really mine in the bag, and I think all the other drivers kind of knew because of my position in that race. It was in the bag for at least me and Brandon to get 1-2 again. Me being in front of him, I probably could have held him off. So that one hurt a little bit more. This one, I didn't really expect to do that good. I told Brandon, I'm like, this is one of those races I qualify fourth and I go to 14th. So I surprised myself. And then, like I said, if I could just, I'm trying to build on that. So the long runs are what's really is hard to do.
Especially at a track like Nashville Super Speedway, where that concrete just eats those tires up, and you really have to manage it and save it.
Well, and you try to save it, and even when you're trying to save, it's like it doesn't save a whole lot. Like running at Atlanta, like I mean, there were very clear things that you're like, oh yeah, this easily saves massive amounts of tire. But then like I'm running at Nashville, and it's like, oh, I'm doing great. And then I'll get the times, and like, oh, this is garbage.
But I also think though it took longer for you to see the savings results versus other tracks that have a higher fall off. I think these ARCA cars really, right as you guys had the caution and right as the finish was happening, that's when you saw the tires really come into play, who really saved their tires, because you saw Carl at the end. I mean, he got by 3 cars there because he played the long game and saved up his tires, where everybody else is running a little bit harder than he was. And I mean, you definitely saw Blake last night. He was able to get all the way up to Brandon's door, but Brandon wasn't pushing it as hard as Blake was, and Blake overheated his front right tire most likely. In theory, that's probably what happened in the game, and which would cost him, just like, hey, look, I'm at 0.2 here now. I'm 1.2 seconds back.
Right, exactly. And I mean, and to be
Yeah.
honest, we were more worried about Carl the whole time. We were the team chat. We were talking about Carl and his long runs. We knew Carl was super strong in the long runs. So if there was maybe another 20 laps, Carl probably would have been closer in the mix there. So, but Brandon played a good race and knew exactly what to do with the lead, and the line he took the whole time was that middle line. And when I got to him, he started running the lower line again because he could. So you could see it in the broadcast. I watched it back. A really good racecraft on his side, for sure.
Yeah, he definitely dropped down like as soon as you got about 3 or 4 tenths away. Brandon started altering his line just a little bit to give him a little bit more speed, so that you had to fight even more, which wasted more of your equipment. And then when he saw that you started to back away, he started to change his line to, oh, well, I guess I can go back into savings mode a little bit,
Right.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd been running that middle line that whole time.
Whole time.
And then when you started getting around him, he kind of moved down to that bottom line where you were running, and that pretty much killed it for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and going back to Tim was really fast, and I think me and him were running a very similar line. I think the only difference was, as I was telling my teammates, is I was letting off the gas really early to kind of let the car fall down to the inside, and I felt like if you try to drive it down to the inside is where you would burn the tires up maybe 10 laps quicker. So in the 40 lap run where you really start to feel it in the car, if you drove it to the bottom line, you were going to feel it at 30 laps very easily.
Yeah, we
So
saw
it was tricky. It was definitely tricky, and like I said, I'm happy with a second. Now, the track that I'm not normally good at, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like entering 3, you could drive it a little bit more into the corner as you started turning. But 1 and 2, like, I mean, I had my brake way back.
Yeah.
So that when I was entering turn 1, like, I was hitting the brake and letting the rear end, turning with the brakes a little bit there. Were you guys doing that as well?
Yeah, I actually turned mine from stock 3% down from where we were.
I
And
actually went 4%.
I would jab the brake a little bit when the car started to get tighter on the entry, and it would just pitch it down to the inside. And again, I really wouldn't get on the gas until a little past, I would say past halfway, and I wasn't getting on the gas completely. It was like half throttle because there was a hump out of both turns. And
Yep.
if you could get over the hump, and if you were full throttle, for whatever reason, the car would kick out on you. I think it happened to both Kevin Haas and Josh Laston in the same spot. So
Yep.
it was tricky if you were not on the throttle the right way coming out of those turns.
Well,
Was that where Josh lost it?
yeah.
Same thing?
So-
Kevin didn't really lose it as much. He still lost it, but he was able to recover way quicker than Josh did. Josh really mowed the grass.
So
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to give mad props out to Kevin Haas as well, because
Yeah, he was fast.
I started the race 6th, and a certain person who started on the outside row at the start of the race, who might be my teammate, had an awful start and stacked up the entire outside line, and I fell back to 8th like before we entered turn 1. And Kevin Haas and I, like, he was paced, like, I was behind him that entire first run, behind him the entire time. And that was one of the reasons why I was pushing so hard to get around Tim, is Kevin got around him really quickly, and then I felt like I was stalling out behind him. And so, I mean, I feel like we don't, as a broadcasting crew, we don't talk about Kevin a ton. He was awesome. But just moving past that a little bit, I with 10:07, so I want to talk about championship a little bit, because the year-long championship, not talking about that because congratulations, Josh Laston, you've won that. But I want to talk about the season championship.
I mean, if you wreck him out every race, you still have a chance, man.
Yeah.
Well,
You got it.
I might not have a teammate anymore.
You need me to
you'll
come
have
in
a-
there just
But you'll have a turtle lamp like Randy. I mean, what do you want? A lifelong
Everyone needs one
friend
of
or
those.
a turtle lamp?
Beautiful Turtles, or what do you want? I mean, come on.
So what I'm trying to figure out is the way I'm looking at it from championship standpoints. I look at there are the top 3 drivers in the league for the championship for the season right now. I put Brandon Bernhardt at 1, Josh Lassen at 2nd, and Blake, I put you at 3rd. Blake, what are you going to have to do, you think, to get ahead of those guys to win a championship?
To win a championship, I'm gonna have to win every race from here on out.
He's gonna have to
Really.
take his teammate out.
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, I was saying last night, I really just need to not really look to for championship, but just look for consistency, and then hopefully the cards fall into place. With maybe one of those guys having a few bad races, because Josh really doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and neither does Brandon. Like I was saying earlier, the guy is super consistent. He doesn't, if he's not feeling it, he does not overdrive that car. He puts himself exactly where he needs to be. If he's the 3rd place car that night, he'll drive it in 3rd place, but that's gonna win him the championship at this rate, So I have to go out and I literally have to drive the balls off the car, and I got to figure something out in the next. What we got? 12 races left.
You got to drive the balls off the car, but
Don't
at the same
put
time,
the balls deep in the back of somebody. All right,
but at the same time, save tires.
Yeah, well, exactly. And there's a fine line between overdriving the car and and losing your equipment and being right on the edge of being fast and being able to save it for the end. So.
Well, and you have to guess what everyone else is doing. Like, you could try say, okay, I'm going to, I'm going to go out here and practice. I'm going to do a long run, and then people keep bringing out cautions, and then it's like the people with the short run speed are going to go out and win.
I'm glad you said that, Carl, because I think that's one of the trickiest parts about, and not that, the field obviously isn't as deep, as Sportsman or Cup, but I think the tricky part about TNT is that you have to factor in 1 or 2 more cautions, and that will change your strategy for the pit. And we all know that pit strategy is just as important as being able to drive the car. And if you put yourself in a bad position in a pit strategy, you're just going to put yourself in the back of the pack, or just outside that top 3 where you need to be to win a championship. So I do think that's tricky about TNT.
So my last question for you, what do you have to do on the track if you're going for a win or something to stop getting wrecked by me?
I don't know, man. I hate to say it because I have a lot of fun racing you guys, but it's just I have a different driving style than you. Obviously, I don't drive it as deep into corners. I brake earlier, and that is always what catches me into a wreck like that. And I think it's just us running with each other for the rest of the season into the next classes that we do. It's just knowing who you're driving around, right? So I see that now. We've wrecked for maybe 3-4 times together, maybe even a little more. But I know that now when you're behind me, I could see you changing your braking zone compared to what my line is. And I appreciate you adapting to the drivers you're around, because you can't race everybody the same. It's everybody has their own style of driving.
Yeah, and on that note, I want to point out that I've raced with you a ton, but anyone that if you haven't raced around people a lot, make sure you're showing up. Saying that this is an open statement to anyone. Practice isn't just for you; it's so that everyone else learns your driving style. I've seen, especially I've seen TNT, especially practice participation's fallen off. So, highly encourage everyone to join practice, because I think it'll make better racing for the entire league.
And remind those guys when practice actually happens.
So practice happens for the TNT series 8 p.m. to midnight Tuesdays, and then also we run a practice 1 hour before the race, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Thursdays.
On top of that, if I could add something to that, Carl, is just for these guys if you guys are struggling, and you might be afraid to run these official races, but they go a long way because you're racing guys that are all different kind of skill levels, and some of the guys aren't the smartest. So you learn how to race around guys that are shifty in a way where you get into a situation when you're in the league we run a lot better than a lot of those official races. So if you could put yourself in a race once or twice a week in an official, just to get your feet wet coming into the league races, I guarantee the guys that struggle will be in a better position during those league races that we run.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, definitely. So,
Yeah,
what?
honestly, I just want genuinely the best races we've had in the league have been when we've had good practice participation. So that's all I'm gonna say. Like they're like this week, like I've harped on during the broadcast. I've harped on um people leaving big gaps during restarts, because I saw that a lot this week in all the series that I talked about. But yeah, the other thing is just showing up practice. Show the practice.
All right.
Okay. So
Well,
let's
we're going
let's
to go
pick-
into Dover.
you got-
We're going to Dover next week in TNT.
Yep.
I think this isn't going to be another or a concrete track that is going to take into tire consideration. Last time I know I raced, it was in a Cup Series, and I was as fast as the leader for the first 15 laps behind him, and then he left me and still running as fast as he was, and I was not. So it's going to be about tire conservation, but also being fast somehow. I don't know how Greg Holt did that, but he did it and just destroyed me. So I'm going to go exactly what Blake Gordon just says. Carl Laston is going to get it done.
Carl Laston.
Josh Laston, sorry. Saw your name up there too.
Like,
I-
does he have a brother? Josh has a brother. Carl Laston's going to come in and join this thing.
Yeah.
I saw your name up there.
It's
for-
10:13. I guess
It's way past my bedtime.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
for what
actually
it-
9:13 your time.
For what it's worth, Josh is my brother at this point. Carl Laston Alford. So, this is a tough one for me. Josh isn't great at managing tires, to be honest. But what I did say earlier is that I am an Endeavor fanboy, and I meant that. But I feel like picking Blake again would be ridiculous. Or sorry, Brandon again would be ridiculous. I'm picking Blake. I legit think that Blake Ziti here is massively overdue for a win. As long as I'm not behind him.
or Nick.
Or Nick.
Yeah, or Nick. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Tim St. Jean.
That's always a good pick.
Yeah, I'm going with Tim. I think he'll take that Guitar Addict Chevrolet to victory lane this week. So, Blake.
Yeah, it's funny. Carl picks me. I'm in here with him, but I was actually going to pick Carl. I think he's got the long runs figured out, and if we have that there, I believe he's going to be able to take this one.
We might have a long run as long as you or Tim.
You dropped out there, Carl.
Yeah, I lost
Oh,
you.
I was sorry. I was saying that
You still drop out again. you drop out of the very last point where we were about to say. We hear all the way up to that.
We just put in what we want at the end there.
Yeah, we got what you meant though.
I was just saying that if Nick doesn't take you out, you probably win this race. Just don't pit at the same time Nick pits.
Yeah, just
All right.
follow Nick into the pit road. He'll never leave that one down.
No, he'll never live that one down. So, hey, let's get out of here, guys. It's been a long night. And you're, Adam, you're telling people that some guy that's not even in the race is going to win a race.
I'm just saying out names, so if one of those names wins, I'm right. So you guys just make fun of me, but if Carl or Josh wins, I picked them.
That's a good way to think about it.
Hey, Blake, though, appreciate you coming on tonight, man. It's great to have you. Keep up the momentum that you got going in all three series, man. It's always a blast to have you out on the track and race with you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me. And of course, you guys are always doing a great job. Just keep it up. You guys are doing awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate it very much. All right, let's get out of here, guys. We're going to sign off here. You've been watching the Ghost Fire Media podcast on this beautiful Friday night. I don't even know what night it is. And don't forget, we got great racing coming up Sunday night. We've got the AOLL Cup race from Daytona International Speedway. Carl will be in the booth calling all the action with Josh Laston for that one. Fuel, once again, on Monday night with Adam and Carl will be in that one. So the two guys at the top here will be calling the action in that one.
Josh will be calling it.
Josh, yeah.
Yeah.
I spent the time to make a throwback.
Josh, you rotate. I forgot.
Yeah. Well, and also I took the time to make a throwback scheme for Darlington, so I'm going to race it.
Okay, awesome. So Josh will be in the booth with Adam on that one, and then Tuesday night I'll be back in the booth for the IVR. I can't say. I'm back to. I can't say it anyway. IVRL butt kicker series. Back in the booth with Nick Adams for that one, and then Wednesday night, Carl, you'll be in the booth for that one for Sportsman, and then me and Adam will be back in the booth on Thursday night for the TNT race. So
there will. Next weekend is going to be Labor Day weekend. There will be no podcast, but stay tuned. Stay tuned for a fun race, though. We're brainstorming right now. It's going to be our teaser. We're going to throw something out there really shortly over the weekend here to give everybody a good heads up of what the race will be. But we're going to have a nice, fun race there for everybody that can be. For all the series that we cover, both Fuel, IBRL, and AOL, anybody from it will be able to run.
Cool. That's going to be fun. Definitely. So that does it for us. We're going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget, if you're on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button so you can catch up all the action as we come online once again next week or any other time. So from Daytona International Speedway, where I'm close to right now, and these guys, Carl's up there in Columbia, South Carolina, and Adam is in the Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area, right?
Correct.
Close.
I'm about an hour and a half south.
Yeah, pretty close. So from these guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghost Fire Media Network.